Hey everyone. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and in honor of that, there's a few things that I want to talk about on here. So, if you guys have been following my story for a while, or you're recently following this account, I've struggled with suicide since the age of 14. Suicide's been a large part of my life. Struggling with it has not only taught me a lot, um, it's also made me the person I am today. And so, with that being said, there's a few things that I think I need to talk about. I've been doing so well lately. Yes, we all have our dark moments. We all have the times where we feel like there's nothing else more than wanting to just end it all. And I get that 100%. But I promise you, and I'm talking from experience, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If you followed this account for a while, you know that over a year ago, over almost 2 years ago, I made a serious attempt to end my life. I was hospitalized, and in that moment, if you scroll down, you'll find out more. But in that moment, I realized that there's so much more to life than wanting to end it all. And so here I'm going to sit today and talk to you about how to suicide prevention, basically, and how I've gotten from point A to point B and why I'm so proud of where I am right now. And so the first thing that really has been the tip of the iceberg is breaking the silence. Tell Chelsea of like 3 years ago to come out and talk about suicide and be able to be open about it or be able to confront her parents about it. No. Today, I feel like talking about it is the number one step in making myself feel better. I know it's not like that for everybody. And if it doesn't work for you, I have some other things I want to talk about. But being open about my story and not hiding it behind this mask has been very liberating. And it has brought me to where I am today. Without being blunt and without being who I am, I just need to take a moment because I'm going to get emotional. So, yeah, without being open and honest about my story with suicide, I would not be where I am today. The overwhelming amount of support I've gotten through my journey really has brought me to where I am today. Which brings me to the second point. So if you're breaking the silence, you're talking about it. And the more that we talk about it, the easier it becomes for us to cope with. Sometimes we feel like, especially if struggling with suicide, you feel like you're the only person who's struggling. You feel so isolated, so alone. You feel like there's no way out. And trust me, I know that feeling 110%. And so I'm here saying that talking about it, even though it seems really, really scary, because trust me, I fucking know it is the number one step in preventing suicide in honor of today. However, I know talking about it can be really difficult because we feel like no one understands us or we feel like we're alone in our fight. I feel you. However, through my journey, I've met people in my life who understand it, who don't judge me because of it, and who still treat me the same because of it. And at the end of the day, it makes it easier for me to talk about it. And so you need to find those kind of people that ground you in your life and that bring you back down to earth and that you're able to talk it out with. Sometimes rationalizing it, and I know it seems dumb, but sometimes rationalizing it is the first step in sort of getting through that wave. Which brings me to how to be there for one another. With working with Jack.org, I've learned a lot of techniques on how to be there for people and how to be there for one another, and which I'll get into later, how to be there for yourself. I know it's sometimes reaching out to people who struggle with suicide and you kind of know they're in a dark place can be very difficult. Step one, tell them what you see. Be honest with them. Be like, hey, I see you're struggling. I'm here to talk about it. Sometimes we just need that person to be like, hey, I got you. And that's such a comforting feeling. Like, someone gets me. Someone sees that I'm struggling. Somebody sees that I'm in a dark place. A second thing that I would say for how to be there for one another, saying what you see, showing you care. These are things that we talk about in Jack.org, but being non-judgmental and taking when you are being there for someone who struggles with suicide, it can be really hard to understand. It's a really hard thing to wrap your head around. So going in without judgment and having a comforting sort of perspective can be really, really comforting for the other person, because we feel like somebody actually is there for us, and we feel like we can create a safe space to talk about it. But the number one thing when it comes to struggling with suicide and how to sort of make it a bit easier is learning how to be there for yourself, which over the past 3 months, I guess, is something that I've come face to face with. I have never been more self-confident, more in tune with myself and in my emotions and how to reassure myself in my entire life. And my advice to you for how to be there for yourself is to you're empathetic towards be empathetic towards yourself. We're all struggling. It's okay to be struggling. You just need to be empathetic towards yourself. Don't feel shame. Don't feel the guilt, all those things. Remember that if somebody else was going through it, you wouldn't want them to feel ashamed. You wouldn't want them to feel guilty. So treat yourself with that same compassion and empathy. Put yourself first. My whole life, I've been used to putting everybody else before me, taking care of everybody else, putting myself behind. And that's when I would find myself in my most darkest moments, was when I didn't have time with myself, when I didn't have time to focus on me or take care of me. And so it's really important to take care of yourself. It's okay to say no to people. It is okay to put yourself first. How are we supposed to help others if we're not okay with ourselves? So the first and most important step in addressing all of this is putting yourself first. And I talk from experience, it is the most rewarding thing that you can do. It's the most rewarding thing you can do. I am not where I am today without having to put myself first the past 3 months. I am not where I am today, able to ride the wave when the suicidal thoughts hit, the suicidal tendencies, to be able to ride that wave when they hit, has come with a lot of self-confidence and come with a lot of empathy towards myself and putting myself first and taking care of me, realizing that I need to be taken care of before I can take care of anybody else. So yeah, those are a few of the things that I wanted to talk about for Suicide Prevention Day. World Suicide Prevention Day, sorry. I'm very open about my story, and I know that sharing my story has been a huge part of my recovery. And getting the messages that I do and the reassurance that I do, something that also has helped immensely with my recovery. And so I will sit here today and tomorrow and every other day being open and honest with my story with suicide. It's not over. I struggle every day. But I've become comfortable with the idea that I'm able to handle it. I'm able to confront it. I'm able to take care of myself first and foremost. So today, in honor of World Suicide Prevention Day, I encourage you all to take an hour, 2 hours, put your homework aside, put anything you need aside, and focus on you. Put you first. Do something that you enjoy doing. It doesn't have to, self-care does not involve taking a bath. Believe me, I'm too lazy to clean a bath. Self-care for me is getting in my bed, eating ice cream, and watching Netflix. No matter, that might be the laziest thing anybody could do, and it's not really, but it's what fuels me back up. It's what gives me energy, ironically. Or reading. That's a big part of me too. Reading, getting my mind off things like that. That's my self-care. So today I encourage you all to put yourself first. And then once you put your oxygen mask on, you can start helping others. But remember, you're the most important person in your life. And yeah, okay. This was really hard for me. I'm proud I did it. It's 10 minutes and 40 seconds long. I hope you guys all have a great day. And remember, my messages are always open, and I'm always here to listen to you guys if you need a safe space. This account is always a safe space.